from Adi-lila, text 1. Vande Gurun Ishan Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Ishan Ishavatarakan Tat Prakasham Statat Shaktim Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam. Hare Krishna. So it's a condensed version of kind of Mangala Charan, offering obeisance to Sri Guru, the Krishna's energies, the Supreme Lord Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all his manifestations and incarnations as well. So yesterday we were talking about Nityananda Prabhu, we were talking about Advaitacharya Prabhu, we were talking about Panchatattva. So we read till text number 14, where we were talking about the Panchatattva. Now let's move on to the next verse, which is text number 15 in this. Jayatam suratau pangur mama mandir matirgate mat sarvasya padambojau Sri Radha Madana Mohana. All three going together, so I'll just read and then come to the translation. Divyad Vrindavaranya Kalpadrumad Srimad Ratnangara Simhasanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtali Pisevyamanau Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambhi Vamsivata Tasthitaha Karshan Venu Swanir Gopir Gopinatha Shriyastunaha. This is also in the Mangalacharan, the detailed one. So, Jayatam Suratau Pangur Mama Mandir Matirgati Mat Sarvaswapada Sri Radha Madana Mohana. So, offering glory to Sri Radha Madana Mohan, I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and thus their lotus feet are everything to me. Pangum is lame, langda. And Manda Matihi, my buddhi, my intelligence is like a fool. Manda Sumanda Madayo. Therefore, who is my director? I want Shri Radha Madana Mohana, who are the Sambhanda deities, the Srila Sanatan Goswami, the to be my directors. So when we have to, Radha Madan Mohan are also said to be the Sambandha vigraha. That means, Sambandha means relationship. So it helps to connect our relationship. The deities helps to connect to Sanatan Goswami, to the process of worship. So Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojan. So Sambandha vigraha are Shri Radha Madan Mohana. Next, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is offering pranams to Sri Radha-Govinda Dev, the Abhideya, in the temple of jewels in Vrindavan, Ratna Simhasana, Divyad Vrindavaranya Kalpadrumad, Srimad Ratnangara Simhasanasta, a throne of jewels. Underneath a desired tree, Sri Radha-Govinda Dev, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my obeisance unto them. So after offering obeisance to the Sambandha vigraha, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is offering obeisance to the Abhideya vigraha, Shri Radha Govinda. And then to the Prayojan vigraha. Prayojan means, Abhideya means the process of worship. And Prayojan means the fruit. That is Krishna Prem. So here, the Prayojan vigraha, Shri Radha Gopinath, the Prayojan vigraha. O Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Radha Gopinath, who originated the transcendental mellow of the Rasa dance, stands on the shore in the Vamsivata and attracts the attention of the cowherd damsels with the sound of his celebrated flute. May they all confer upon us their benediction. So offering prayers to Guru, offering prayers to Krishna, offering prayers to the different deities, to the spiritual masters, So Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, before beginning all these wonderful nectarian pastimes, the whole chapter is dedicated to offering these prayers. In short, it's kind of like a Mangalacharan, which we do before the class, which we do before any act of devotional service. So he's doing his Mangalacharan. And therefore, most of these prayers are also in the Mangalacharan as well. Okay, so now we will go to the next verse, text 18. Would someone like to read this one?
Hare Krishna Puji, may I read it?
Yes, Mata. Yes.
Text number 18. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Translation by His Right Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda, glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So this verse also very, very important. We can learn this, not very difficult. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya. To Lord Chaitanya. Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra. Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Vrinda means groups. Vrinda. Bhakta, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. We say that. Right? So, Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All the associates of Lord Chaitanya, all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So, praying, glorifying them, very, very nice. Okay, text number 19. Prabhupada is giving a detailed purport. So we'll read it in sections. Would someone like to start and maybe read one or two paragraphs of the purport?
Can I read, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam.
Sure, please.
Ei tina Thakura Gaudiya ke Kariya Chena Atmas. Prabhuji, I'm reading the book. 18 ঠাকুর গড়িয়াকে করিয়াছেন আত্মসাৎ, এই তিনের চরণ বন্ধ, তিনে মোর নাথ. Translation. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madana Mohana, Govinda, and Gopinath, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnava, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Purport. The author of Sri Caitanya-Caritāmṛta offers his respectful obeisances unto the three deities of Vrindavana named Sri Radha Madana Mohana, Sri Radha Govinda Deva, and Radha Gopinath ji. These three deities are the life and soul of the Bengali Vaishnavas or Gaudiya Vaishnavas who have a natural aptitude for residing in Vrindavan. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas who all follow strictly in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worship the divinity by chanting transcendental sounds meant to develop a sense of one's transcendental relationship with the Supreme Lord, a reciprocation of mellows, rasas, of mutual affection, and ultimately the achievement of the desired success in loving service. These three deities are worshipped in three different stages of one's development. The followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu scrupulously follow these principles of approach. Will I read the next one or someone?
Sure, you can read this one.
Gaudiya Vaishnavas perceived the ultimate objective in Vedic hymns composed of 18 transcendental letters that adore Krishna as Madana Mohana, Govinda, and Gopijana Vallava. Madana Mohana is he who charms Cupid, the god of love. Govinda is he who pleases the senses of the cows, and Gopijana Vallava is the transcendental lover of the gopis. Krishna himself is called Madana Mohana, Govinda, Gopijana Vallava, and countless other names as he plays in his different pastimes with his devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, Sampradaya Mataji, you want to read the next 1 or 2 paragraphs?
Hare Krishna. The three deities Madan Mohana, Govinda and Gopijana Vallabha have very specific qualities. Worship of Madan Mohana is on the platform of re-establishing our forgotten relationship with the personality of Godhead. In the material world, we are presently in utter ignorance of our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Pangohu refers to one who cannot move independently by his own strength, and Madana Matehe is one who is less intelligent because he is too absorbed in materialistic activities. It is best for such persons not to aspire for success in futive activities or mental speculations, but instead simply to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The perfection of life is simply to surrender to the Supreme. In the beginning of our spiritual life, we must therefore worship Madana Mohan so that he may attract us and nullify our attachment for material sense gratification. This relationship with Madan Mohana is necessary for neophyte devotees. When one wishes to render service to the Lord with strong attachment, one worships Govinda on the platform of transcendental service. Govinda is the reservoir of all pleasures.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, you there? Govinda is the reservoir of all pleasures. When, by the grace of the Krishna and the devotees, one reaches perfection in devotional service, he can appreciate Krishna as Gopi Janavallabha, the pleasure deity of the damsels of Vraja. So, here Prabhupada is explaining about the first deity, that is Radha Madana Mohana. Moha means to put into illusion. Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. So right now, what is our moha? Pure devotees have moha to Radha Madana Mohana. But fallen conditioned souls whose matir is manda, manda matir, that means their intelligence is polluted by material consciousness. They are pangur. What is Prabhupada mentioning here? Who cannot move independently on by his own strength in spiritual journey. One can say, well, I can take a flight and go to India, or I can take a flight and go to Switzerland. That's not meant by movement here. So in short, if we have to move in the right direction from materialistic outlook of life to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, then we need to re-establish our forgotten relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we need to re-establish that. Here, Prabhupada is clearly mentioning. And that's the first process, Sambhanda, relationship. Who is the Sambhanda vigraha? Srila Radha Madana Mohana. How many of you have seen Radha Madana Mohan Temple? Anyone seen? At least in pictures. It's a very beautiful temple in Vrindavan. I'll share some pictures. So, from material attraction to spiritual attraction, from being attracted to materialistic things, from moha, we can't kill our moha. We have to dovetail our moha. Right now, the moha is a new car, new home, new this, new gadgets, new whatever, we can add to that list. But when we situate that to the higher, to the Supreme Lord, who's all attractive, all worshipable, and who's known by wonderful names, Gopi Janavallabha, Radha Madana Mohana, Radha Madhava, all these names Prabhupada is mentioning. These are all very personal names of the Supreme Lord. Here we're not saying Paramatma, here we're not saying God, We're not saying omniscient, omnipresent. Those are names, but indirect names. These are very, very close, intimate names of the Supreme Lord. So, re-establishing our connection. Let's see what Prabhupada is teaching us further. Anyone else wants to read? Subrat Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, devotees. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this mode of devotional service in 3 stages, and therefore these worshipable deities were installed in Vrindavan by different Goswamis. They are very dear to Gaudiya Vaishnavas there, who visit the temple at least once a day. Besides the temples of these 3 deities, many other temples have been established in Vrindavan, such as the temple of Radha Damodar of Jiva Goswami, the temple of Shyama Sundar of Shyamananda Goswami, the temple of Gokulananda of Loknath Goswami, and the temple of Radha Raman of Gopala Bhatt Goswami. There are 7 principal temples over 400 years old that are the most important of 5,000 temples now existing in Vrindavan. Gaudiya indicates the part of India between the southern side of Himalaya mountains and the northern part of the Vindhya hills, which is called Aryavarta, and the Lord of Aryans. This portion of India is divided into 5 parts or provinces: Pancha Gauda Desha, Saraswata, Kashmir and Punjab, Kanya-Kubja, Uttar Pradesh, including the modern city of Lucknow, Madhya Gauda, Madhya Pradesh, Maithila, Bihar and part of Bengal, and Utkala, part of Bengal and the whole of Orissa. Bengal is sometimes called Gauda Desha, partly because in form a portion of Maithila, and partly because the capital of Hindu king Raja Lakshmana Sena was known as Gauda. This old capital later came to known as the Gaudapura and gradually Mayapur. Continue to stop.
Let's pause here. You want to say something? What you realized?
It's like how those things it relates with the modern places, and explaining about the few temples which are very important after the 5,000 temples, and the temples established by the different Goswamis.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So I just open an article so that we can talk about the 7 main temples. Has anyone been to Vrindavan and been to these 7 temples? Okay. No, yes, no, maybe everyone is on video
Yes,
off.
No problem.
Okay, yeah, it'd be nice if you share some and engage, so I don't feel that I'm just talking to myself. Okay, so I would encourage your participation. Okay, first, Sri Radha Madana Mohana Temple. So earlier they were actually very big, but the the Mughals were, especially Aurangzeb, was not very happy. It is said that these temples, especially Shri Radha Govinda Mandir, was 7 stories. It was visible from Agra. And Agra is at least 100 kilometers away from Vrindavan, approximately. So the British, the Mughals did a lot of damage, and then the deities were transferred to Jaipur. So therefore, there's a wonderful temple of Radha Govinda in Jaipur also. The Jaipur was ruled by the Rajputs, the Hindu kings, and they gave protection at that time. So this is Radha Madana Mohana Temple. Sanatan Goswami was the main devotee worshipping them. Okay, built almost 500 years back. Sri Radha Damodara. This temple is very, very special to us. Can anyone tell why? Who knows the answer? Anyone knows the answer?
Srila Prabhupada stayed there before
Yes.
to United States 10 years.
10 years he stayed here. So this is the main altar. This is the courtyard. For those who have been, we can mentally transport ourselves. And just to the right here, the area which is not yet seen in this, is Prabhupada's quarters. So Prabhupada spent his time here meditating on the mission. And that's the place right next here in this kind of, you go out from this, there's a way to circumambulate. You see this kind of shadow coming, the sunlight coming here. So you go out from this door, do a circumambulation around and come back from this door. That's a circumambulation path. And right here is the Sri Rupa Goswami Samadhi, which Prabhupada would see from his kitchen and meditate upon the establishing the mission of his guru. Sri Jiva Goswami was the main devotee worshipping this. Sri Radha Damodar, we just read. Then Sri Radha Shyamasundar is also another beautiful temple for Gaudiya Vaishnava. Sri Radha Ramana. Radha Raman was the self-manifested deity. Came from Shaligram Shila, right? Raise your hand if you know which deity we are talking about. Or do a thumbs up or whatever. You know which deity we're talking about, which you have the picture of the deity in your mind coming up, right? No one? Ravi Prabhu knows. Yes. Ravi Prabhu, want to?
So Sri Radharaman temple, they have the Radha Raman, which actually is a deity of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was very much inclined to the service of deities, and he has Shalagram Shilas, so he was feeling sad that he cannot do the shringar of the deities. So the deity changed into, Shalagram Shila changed into deities. And it's one of the nicest temple in Vrindavan. Please add.
Thank you. So, Radha Ramanji, very, very self-manifested deity, came from the Shaligram Shila. So, which also tells us that Shaligram Shila is not just some dead stone. The deities are not some dead stone. If we have the devotion, then great souls talk to the deities manifest. So, and they have the whole combination of Radha Madana Mohana, Govinder and Gopinath. So a combination of Sambhanda, Abhideya and vigraha and Prayojan vigraha. So this is the Shringar form. So a lot of wonderful festivals happens, and still Gaudiya Vaishnavas are taking care of all these deities and these temples till date. Very, very wonderful. Okay. So where were we? Yeah. Sri Radha Raman Temple. Yes, Prabhu, you were saying.
We just want to add few things there,
yes, please.
So the main three deities, Sri Govinda Dev, Sri Madan Mohan, and Sri Gopinath. Actually, those deities were established by Sri Krishna's great grandson, Brajanav. Brajanav actually established the deities, and those deities were like Srila Govinda Dev's Mukharabindo, means the face. It was confirmed by Pradyumna, Krishna's son, his wife Roti Devi, that when Brajanav established, after Krishna left, he established three main deities: Govinda Dev's face, and Madan Mohan's lotus feet, and the between that part, from the neck to the lower part of the abdomen, is Gopinath. And Srimati Roti Devi, she confirmed that that Govinda Dev's face is exactly like Krishna's face. And later on, those deities actually they disappeared because of different reasons. But later, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sang Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, then Rupa Goswami actually, Govinda Dev came to his dream and asked him to excavate. And Madan Mohan, actually, it was named as Madan Gopal. That deity was actually being taken care of one of the Brajavasis. And when Srila Sanatana Goswami went to Vrindavan, according to instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Madan Mohan came to his dream. There's a nice story actually. He saw that Madan Gopal was playing actually. And at the same time, that Madan Gopal deity was, I forgot to tell, it was actually found by Sri Advaita Acharya when he went to Vrindavan. Then before he left, he gave to one of the Brajavashi, whose name was Chaturbedi. So he gave it to him, and then that Chaturbedi Brahman, he was actually doing the worshipping, and that deity was like that, the deity was playing with his son actually. And Sanatana Goswami saw that when he one day went to Mathura, to that Chaturbedi's house. And then he was thinking that how come the deity is playing with the, then actually Madan Gopal came to his dream and said, Sanatan, don't judge like that. And then after a few days, he came to again to the dream of Sanatana Goswami and to that Chaturbedi, that he gave this, he came into the dream of that Chaturbedi's wife and told her that give the deity to Sanatana Goswami. He is my pure devotee. And he also came to Sanatana Goswami and told him that you, from now onwards, you worship me. I already took their worship, now you do. So what I wanted to say, these deities are actually very from long before. I mean, we can like almost like 5,000 years, because Brajanav was so that's the speciality of these deities actually. Krishna Prabhu, back to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, anytime we go to Vrindavan as ISKCON devotees practicing sadhakas, we must go to these 7 temples. So, I've shared the link also. So, if someone wants to read, there's a nice class by Jolas Radhanath Swami Maharaj. There's a transcript I have shared, but just will complete the quick darshan. So we saw Radha Shamsundar temple, Radha Raman temple, and the Radha Raman deities, Radha Govinda temple. Suppose I was the one talking about 7-story. Only 2 stories are kind of there now. Like I said, there were 7 stories. So this was all built 500 years back. There were no machines and cranes and all these things which are present now. But still, how much it's kind of an emblem of devotion, how much hard work and carrying the stones and these red sandstones from Jaipur. So all have great details can be shared, but we'll just take the quick darshan. Radha Gopinath Temple. So built by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, a Vaishnava scholar and poet. The temple houses the deity of Radha Vinod, worshipped by Lokanath Goswami, a Govardhan Shila gifted by Lord Chaitanya to Raghunath Das Goswami that's present, and the deity of Sri Vijay Govinda worshipped by Baladev Vidyabhushan, and a stone with the thumbprint of Lord Chaitanya. So all those are still present, and these temples are really very, very wonderful. And just next to this is the Samadhi Mandir of Sri Narottam Das Thakur as well. Sri Radha Gopinath Temple, the Prayojan deity. Just a few minutes. All these are very, very kind of close in the Vrindavan area. So in like few hours, one can go and take darshan of all the temples. So next time you go, you can certainly plan on your list and go with devotees who can explain the glories of these wonderful temples, the deities, etc. So 7 main temples. Yes, Prabhu, you were saying something.
Prabhu, I want to share a few other things. Actually,
Yeah,
the
please.
original deity of Sri Madan Mohan and Sri Govinda Dev and actually Radha Damodar also and Gopinath, they actually were taken to Jaipur. So Madan Mohan right now is in Karoli, and Govinda Dev, Gopinath, and Radha Damodar, they are in Jaipur right now. Actually, original, because Govinda Dev was by Srila Rupa Goswami carved this deity, and Srila Jiva Goswami was his disciple. He was worshipping those deities. Actually, in current Radha Damodar temple, if you go, there is a deity of Srila Radha Vrindavan Chandra, which is a deity of Srila Krishnadas Gaviraj Goswami Chandra. Then also, when Sanatana Goswami was very old, Sanatana Goswami was doing Govardhan Parikrama every day. So Krishna came to me and said, Sanatana, you don't have to do any more Govardhan Parikrama. You are too old. But Sanatana Goswami was persistent. So Krishna gave him a Govardhan Shila with a mark of his hoof, cow's hoof. Actually, that Shila is still in current Radha Damodar temple. If you give little dakshina to the devotees there, and they will give you the darshan, to have darshan of this deity. So, because Govinda Dev was by Rupa Goswami, Madan Mohan by Sanatana Goswami, and Gopinath was Madhu Pandit. If you go to Madhu Pandit, Gopinath temple, you can even see the there is a quote by quote of Madhu Pandit there. So actually, if you go with the devotees, Vrindavan devotees, you can have darshan of all these things. Actually, I was fortunate because it says that if we have darshan of Madan Mohan, Govinda Dev, and Gopinath, because it's like you can have Krishna's full darshan from lotus feet to his head. So we went to Karoli very early morning because Karoli is little far from Jaipur, and we had darshan of Madan Mohan there. Then we went to Jaipur, and then we went to Gopinath, and then at the end we went to Govinda Dev. And if you give Pujari little dakshina, Govinda Dev specially, they will have you to darshan very close to the deities, very close to the deities, almost like 3-4 feet. So those are the actually really it makes a lot of impression just having those darshan of those deities. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. See, that's the beauty of going to these wonderful holy places. So we must go so that the time when we can't go, we can at least mentally do the smar or do a mental yatra. And that can only happen when we have physically gone. Okay, we can read about it, we can hear about it, that's all good, but at least we should plan to go a few times. And therefore, all these temples have yatras in India. Like nowadays, the Navadvip Mandal Parikrama is going on. Thousands of devotees are going. So we must plan. This is kind of a disadvantage of living in US, but we have chosen. No one has forced us to live here. We have chosen to live here. That does not mean that we should compromise on going to these holy places. At least, no, sometimes. And then other times we can have mental yatras. So we'll complete this verse now. Okay, the last maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs. Anyone wants to read?
Hare Krishna, I can read if you want.
Yes, please, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, all devotees. The devotees of Orissa are called Odiyas. The devotees of Bengal are called Gaudiyas. And the devotees of southern India are called as Dravida devotees. As there are 5 provinces in Aryavarata, so Dakshinatya, southern India, is also divided into 5 provinces, which are called Pancha Dravida. The 4 Vaishnava acharyas, who are the great authorities of the 4 Vaishnava disciplic successions, as well as Sripada Sankaracharya of the Mayavada school, appeared in the Pancha Dravida provinces. Among the 4 Vaishnava acharyas, who are all accepted by Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Sri Ramanuja Acharya appeared in the southern part of Andhra Pradesh of Mahabhutapuri. Sri Madhva Acharya appeared at Pajakam near Vimanigiri in the district of Mangalore. Sri Vishnu Swami appeared at Pandya and Sri Nibaraka appeared at Mungera Patana in the extreme south. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the chain of discipline succession from Madhva Acharya, but the Vaishnavas in his line do not accept the Tattva-vadis, who also claim to belong to the Madhva Sampradhaya. To distinguish themselves clearly from the Tattva-vadi branch of Madhava's descendants, the Vaishnavas of Bengal prefer to call themselves Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Sri Madhva Acharya is also known as Sri Gauda Purnananda, and therefore the name Madhva Gaudiya Sampradhaya is quite suitable for the disciplic successions of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Our spiritual master, Om Vishnupada, Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja, accepted initiation in the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So here we see how the Aryan province was divided into different regions and how different acharyas came in different regions to establish Krishna consciousness. And we must remember our parampara, one of the 4 bona fide paramparas, the Brahma, Madhava, Gaudiya, Sampradhaya. So let's start from Krishna to Brahma, and then Madhvacharya was an important personality, and then in our parampara, and then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then his 6 Goswamis, etc., and then our Sri Prabhupada. So this is Brahma, Madhava, Gaudiya, Sampradhaya. Any comments or additions? Any questions? Okay, so we will read Srimad Bhagavatam now. Om Namo. Okay.